If you leave corporate America and you do something for yourself, especially something you love, it's the best. These represent end mills that perished.
Rest in peace. Moment of silence.
Exactly. Do it.
Do it.
100% do it. Absolutely. The feeling of pride, the feeling of accomplishment is immeasurable. But
You might want to see a therapist.
probably. What is God in terms of a machine shop? It's making something for somebody and getting it to them fast. This is the part for 2024 that literally brought us to our knees. Any person starting a business, anybody, is going to experience so many lows, so many setbacks, so many roadblocks. Haas mini mill. It's a 1946 Southbend 9A.
Beautiful Hardinge machine.
Thank you. A manual CNC lathe.
That is cool. I've never seen that before.
But it's because you're doing it for you. It's you know, you're not giving your time away to anybody else.
Right.
Every hour you're investing for yourself.
It's a fully different mental framework, right?
Yep. I was in the shop last night till I think it was 10:45, and I was out here at 5:30 in the morning. There's something therapeutic about it because you know your world shrinks down to this little puddle. Sitting in your shop for hours and hours and hours and like looking out and seeing everybody else having fun. If you're doing what you love, even if you're not becoming rich, you know the feeling of accomplishment and pride is what fuels you.
All right, guys, so today I am in Bangor, Pennsylvania. I am with Brad at Maple Lane Machine and Tool, and he is just going to show us around the shop here. He's got a really nice shop. Let's take a look.
So my name is Brad Jacob, the owner and operator of Maple Lane Machine and Tool. Currently we're specializing in medical industry parts. We are a job shop. Yeah, so how I got started was, you know, the real quick version was I restored a machine. I bought a Southbend Lathe and restored it, and that led to several others. And before I knew it, my whole basement was overtaken with machine shop tools. So I got some work. The opportunity came along where somebody was like, "Hey, listen, I could get you some work. You could make some money." I was like, "Sure." And I incorporated. I did all the restores and started building my YouTube channel from late 2010 up until 2015. So about 4 years. Got incorporated and did my first job as Maple Lane Machine and Tool. First job was 2016 in March or April, somewhere around there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, I'm assuming you've worked other jobs before. Can you compare this type of work to maybe another type of work?
Yeah, I mean, out of high school, I became a carpenter for a couple of years, and then I went to computer school, and worked in corporate America. And I'm probably will be willing to bet there's a lot of people out there who are pumping their fists in the air when I say, if you leave corporate America and you do something for yourself, especially something you love, it's the best. That's the thing that drives me. So to give you the differences, something nice about a shop is you're hands-on, you're mechanically making something, you feel close to the work. Whereas if, let's say you're putting together a spreadsheet or a PowerPoint presentation, it's not tangible. You're not seeing where your efforts and where your work is going. Sure, it's helping the company in some way. But when you hold a raw piece of stock in your hand and you get that part out of the material, right? They always say the part's in there, it's just a matter of getting it out. But when you hold that finished product in your hand, the feeling of pride is incredible. Absolutely incredible. So there's no comparison to other jobs to this.
Yeah, just to be able to make something in the physical world.
And I don't say this like this is the best job to have, but if you're into machining and you want a shop, then this is probably your biggest passion. So, sure, space, number one. Space, not having enough space. When you don't have space, you don't have room for all your machines to be set up. So you struggle badly because you have to unpack a machine to use it, And a lot of times that almost dissuades you from using the machine. So you're not really operating at full capacity. Making mistakes, making machining mistakes and having to buy more material to correct your mistakes. Because if you have a major screw up, you can't look at the customer and say, well, I screwed up. You have to go and you have to get more material and make sure you hit your marks and deliver a quality, quality product. Sitting in your shop for hours and hours and hours and like looking out and seeing everybody else having fun. I can remember in my old house, when I was running the shop out of my garage, I would look out the window and see my neighbors across the street like having a pool party.
And you're in there grinding.
You're just in there grinding, sweating, and putting the hours in.
All right, I had to take the opportunity to plug my day job as a salesman for Campro USA, which is what allows me to get around to all these shops. I am in the showroom in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, where we have machines under power and parts in stock. We do service out of here as well. Box and linear wave vertical machining centers. Same thing on the turning centers. We have full 5-axis, and then all the way up to big double column bridge mills. Machines come with FANUC control. I sell direct from the factory in East Pennsylvania. The bang for the buck is almost impossible to beat. If you're somewhere else in the country and are interested, I'm happy to connect you with one of our dealers. Okay, thanks. Back to the video.
Then the dark times when you don't have work coming in. So, there's no one formula. So many people like to talk about this. Well, you need to do this or you need to do that. You got to pay your bills somehow, some way.
So what would be maybe some advice from those hard things that you went through if you're talking to a guy who's a skilled machinist or something, he wants to start his own shop? What advice would you give him?
Do it.
Do it?
100% do it. Absolutely. And
why?
I know that sounds cliche. Everybody says do it, do it, do it. But like I said earlier, when you're doing it, every hour goes to you. It's an investment in you, in your life, in your well-being. The feeling of pride, the feeling of accomplishment is immeasurable. The work is out there. There's so much work out there. It's just a matter of connecting yourself with it. And it all depends on what your goal is too. You might want to be a job shop, which I am, but then you might want to bring a product to market. You invent something basically, which is really the ultimate goal, because then you're truly calling your own shots.
Right. Yeah, you don't even have people banging on your door telling you to get the orders out. You're the captain.
Yep.
Here.
All right, so yeah, this is just a Haas mini mill. It's got the updated controller, the next gen controller. We got this in 2020, and I mean, I just sat. I'll tell you how I learned CNC and Fusion. I got my laptop. I had Fusion on my laptop. I sat on the couch and pulled up every video on YouTube that I could find. Mostly
a lot of John Saunders.
Probably 98% John Saunders.
Yeah.
So John, if you're watching, I thank you. You taught me a lot.
He actually taught me a lot with his shop tour videos.
Yep.
When I started in the industry, I graduated college in 2020 during COVID, and got a job for a tooling supplier, Allied Machine, and needed to learn about the industry, but it was COVID. So I just watched like all of his shop tour videos.
Yeah.
And just like learned so much about the industry.
Yep.
Which is part of the motivation for me doing these videos.
As most people know, John started off working in, his shop was like a part of his apartment in New York City.
Yep.
So when he did a shop tour, I don't know if he did this, but metaphorically, he basically just like sat on his chair, just kind of like swivel chair. I remember him going like, "Oh, here's some lubricants, here's some parallels, here's a couple of screwdrivers." I mean, he went from that to the empire that he's got now. So he is a smart guy. He's a total success story.
He just seems like a good guy who's willing to help people out and share knowledge, and goodwill follows you around, right?
I learned actually by watching him and seeing what he's accomplished. Any person starting a business, anybody, is going to experience so many lows, so many setbacks, so many roadblocks. You have to power through it. If you really want to be successful, it's out there. It's waiting for you. 100% it's out there. and it's 100% attainable. You just have to just keep muscling through.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. Probably a lot of people quit after a few failures.
Yep, and as a business owner, I can say, without fail, all the hype of, not the hype, but you know, everybody says like, you know, you have to put in a lot of hours when you're doing a business and everything.
The grind.
The grind, it's there.
Yeah.
It's not, I will say this though, it's not bad.
Right, because you love doing it, right?
Yeah, because you know what it is, I mean, there's days that I don't love doing this. You know, it's just because you're tired. But it's because you're doing it for you. Mm-hmm. It's, you know, you're not giving your time away to anybody else.
Right.
Every hour you're investing for yourself.
It's a fully different mental framework, right?
Yep.
Not working for the man.
I was in the shop last night till I think it was 10:45, and I was out here at 5:30 in the morning. And what did I do when I went upstairs? I went upstairs. I couldn't go to bed. I was wound up. I watched fusion videos. It's like a sickness.
Yeah, that is a sickness.
But
you might want to see a therapist.
Probably.
What does your wife think about that? A therapist?
She's actually, it's funny. She was buffing hooks today. We were taking the brass off of hooks back down to the satin undercoating. Mm-hmm. And she said to me today, she goes, "I'm like you. I'm now watching YouTube videos to find out how to like, you know, bring them to a different grade of polish."
Right.
So
yeah, you get that rabbit hole and get the bug.
Yep.
So you have a wife and kids, and you're running a business and working late. How has that gone with the whole family life thing?
Not bad, because I mean, that I will say has not interfered at all with anything.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you always have to make time for your family. You have to make time. You have to make time for your health.
How has that become a factor for you?
Well, I'm just realizing that I have to do that more. But no, I mean, like, you know, you have to get out there. You have to exercise. You have to do the things that you love to do as well. Like, you can't drop all your other hobbies, you know, because then you'll just be miserable.
Right.
I mean, at least that's my experience.
Sure.
You got to make time for your loved ones and for yourself.
Motorcycles, is that a big hobby for you?
Yeah, I mean, I used to ride a lot more when I didn't have kids.
Right.
And now my kid has his own motorcycle. So there's part of me that kind of wants to be out there on the road with him.
Yeah.
You know, the father in me.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of machinists like bikes, working on them, wrenching on them and
definitely.
stuff. We like the machine just to stare at it, just sit and look at your bike.
Trust me, I know. I'm a dirt bike guy.
Okay. This is a 1946 Southbend 9A. And it's basically like the machine we used to use in high school.
So that's how you got started? Is you had metal shop in high school or something?
Yep. I took machine shop, metal shop, wood shop, and then our school had a machine shop program.
What do you got here?
This is a 70s Bridgeport.
Looks like it's in good shape. You still use it regularly?
Last two jobs I actually had to use this because it just so happened that the last two jobs that I had were 1 inch past the travel of my Haas mini mill.
Okay. So did you do everything but the 1 inch on the mini mill and then bring
I
it over
did
here?
it all on the Bridgeport, yeah.
Just did it all over here. So like every shop has a Bridgeport and you kind of have to have one, right?
100%.
Even if you have the fanciest equipment out there.
There will be people who would disagree with me on that, but I say every shop needs a Bridgeport. And a manual lathe and a manual mill. You got to have one.
Yeah, because even if you're doing a million parts on the CNC, you might have one part here and there, maybe to make a fixture or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, a second op. You could, oh my God, sometimes you could do things 1,000 times faster on a manual machine. If you know what you're doing and you just have a small, let's say you're just trying to clean up some stock. While that machine's going, you could come in here and you could clean up your stock. You could cube stock. You could punch holes in things. There's like 1.5 million uses for this. This will go 360 around. It'll go back and forth. The head will go 360, although I'm not 100% sure. I mean, it'll tilt. Yeah, you wouldn't. I don't think you'd need it going this way, but
right.
It'll go 180. I know that, and it'll nod back and forth as well that way.
You keep your machines in nice condition.
It's funny, I look at them and I'm thinking that they're really in bad shape. They need to be cleaned. Like this machine needs to be cleaned. And it's one of the things we wanted to do over the kind of the winter slowdown is clean it up. It's not a, you know, like a thing of being picky or anything, but I think the more you keep your machines clean, the longer they're going to last.
Right.
Because they will gum up and get horribly dirty really fast, and then it's, you know, trying to clean it from there is a nightmare.
Yeah, it snowballs from there,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I've been in hundreds of machine shops. This is one of the cleaner ones.
Well, thank you.
So nice work.
Thanks.
Let me just get some closer shots to this.
Yeah, this is the big gearhead lathe. You know, like I said, I come from having a Southbend, and Southbends are belt-driven machines. So to have a big gearhead machine is almost also a necessity.
So this stuff looks like gibberish to the average person. So maybe you could give me like an 8th grade tutorial on what you do with that kind of stuff.
It's really setting all the different gearbox settings. You have feed rate for the carriage. You have thread pitches, both metric and imperial. And this is really where you set them. It's just, you know, it's a combination of, so let's say I wanted to do, I don't know, 20 threads per inch. You would you come over here and you look at your diametrical pitch, and we find, where's the 2020? So you would connect the gearbox to H8, or is that B?
HBS3V.
Yep, with a combination of all these things. You got it.
Okay.
This is a machine that's, you know, is to be feared. If you get caught in it,
right,
it's not going to end well. So you have to be very safe.
Some
like
people
would
get
not
their
wear
hair
this.
caught in it, but you look like you're in a
No
good
problem.
situation for that.
Yeah, I would always take my sweatshirt. There was a video we just watched on Facebook the other day. Some guy got pulled into his lathe, and luckily he didn't lose his arm, but his arm got really mangled.
Yeah, I've seen some of those videos. It's scary. So you got a nice custom tooling rack here.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
sweet.
These were somebody from my YouTube channel actually sent me these, and this is just extruded aluminum. Just made the rack. Not my design. I can't take credit for it. A guy by the name of Robin Renzetti, which a lot of people online know.
I've seen his videos.
Oh yeah,
he's like an older gentleman that's like an expert in machining, like a true craftsman, right?
He is the gold standard out there.
I watched his video on hand scraping.
Yeah.
I think a long time ago, and I was just blown away. I was first getting into machining then, and I watched his video on hand scraping, and I was like, I can't believe this is the most precise way to make something flat.
There's nothing he can do.
It was amazing.
Nothing he can't do.
This is a beautiful Hardinge machine.
Thank you. This is a 92. This year is 92, but it's in really nice shape. There's really no wear on it at all. I did save up a lot of money for this. It wasn't cheap, but
These machines are known for being kind of the best, like toolroom lathes,
Yeah.
right? Like really precision.
this and, you know, the Monarch Double E, I think that's what's called the Double E. Really like the same class of machine, but it's, you know, it's the headstocks. It's not 100% solid, but it's very, very rigid, and the bearings are really high precision in there. The bed is just one dovetail, straight flat piece.
What type of tolerances can you hold on this machine?
Tenths,
Really?
100%. Yep.
Really?
All day long. I could hold tenths in plastic, and I've done it.
Really?
Yep, peak
That's hard.
plastic.
Because
Yeah.
that stuff is really rubber.
Yep, very much so. Yeah, I mean, it's a great machine. It lives up to the hype.
Yeah.
1.5 inch by 2 inch by 1 foot was $298 and $298 in
Wow.
McMaster.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So that can go in the body though. That's what implantable means.
Yeah, none of the parts that I make go in bodies.
Okay.
Though. No, not at all.
Well, I need an extra level of certification for that.
It's 100%. Yeah. I don't have any of those certifications, but well, one day.
Yeah.
We're working up toward it.
Yeah.
And this guy over here is just another Hardinge, but this is just a second op lathe, turret lathe, DSM 59, a manual CNC lathe.
That is cool. I've never seen that before.
Believe it or not, this thing will turn, will change tools faster than the Tormach. But yeah, this is, you know, this is for, you know, just like it says second op, if you need to come in and deburr a part, if you want to put chamfers and stuff. Amazing how many times over the machine will pay for itself.
So this is a threading tool here, huh?
Yeah, this is die chasers. This is the actual internal threads.
Okay.
And those are external threads. Give it a little wipe. There's all kinds of dust on there. There. Now she's ready for prime time.
And that is why you have clean machines.
Yep. I mean, and listen, what's better than just becoming completely oily when you're making parts? Ruining every shirt that you have.
Right.
It's like, it's the greatest thing in the world.
Yes, exactly.
I don't have the obligatory, you know, curio cabinet yet for
Right.
like the resume of, you know, of parts and stuff. But this is, you know, talking about everything is rubber.
Uh-huh.
So this is peak. This is a job that most people would look at and think it's the easiest thing to do in the world.
Right.
But when you want to work hold this and you want to make sure that that gap in there is, you know, plus or minus 1/1000th of an inch,
It's tight.
you know, you get a lot of bowing. So this plastic wants to bow in.
Right.
So it was this is the part for 2024 that literally brought us to our knees, because it's not that, you know, diagnosing and figuring out a good way to do it, but when you're running out of scrap material,
Oh, yeah.
and you don't have, like, you know, you can't just buy extra peak, you know, because it's so expensive. So we really had to like put our heads together and figure out.
So
how,
what did you do? Like cut a dovetail on the bottom or something?
It was.
So you didn't...
So here's some extras. So the way we figured this out was to machine the pocket, the inner pocket first, while keeping, you know, the walls thick, and then coming up with the system of putting a plug.
Oh,
This is
smart.
a test piece, but we drilled a hole through there, so it would go in, and then you hit the air gun, whoosh, and it ejects it.
Oh, cool.
So, you know, we put the rigidity back in there, and then there was, we had to dovetail it as well, because when you put it in the vise and you squeezed it, you would cut it, and then when you release the pressure, you watch the thing bow inside, and it's like, oh God, what are we gonna do?
There goes your tolerance.
Yeah, so, you know, we got the plug for them. We got the plug for the bigger ones here.
Neat. And if anybody wants to buy some scrap peak.
So anyway, that's, you know, everything moves. But this is extra. These are like some of the parts that we make here. This is all peak.
And what would that be used for?
This goes in a bandsaw,
Okay.
upper and lower bandsaw guides.
For...
Tissue,
Okay. Interesting.
bone,
Bone.
bones. You could never have enough of these. This one is like my HLV-H. This was a special find. It's in like new condition. No, this is a 5C.
Okay.
For 5C collet, but I mean, to find one with this phenolic, yeah, you put a collet in there, and then you do whatever machining operations, and then you could turn it and index it.
Oh, neat.
Let's say you wanted to do 60 degrees or 90 degrees or whatever. But yeah, these, you could put them this way. You could put them for vertical if you're, you know, if you're machining a piece, whatever you wanted to do, like a bolt pattern or
Sure.
something. See, it still has the scraping on it.
Yeah, hand scrape marks. That's cool.
Yeah, this was a good find. But yeah, I mean, you get these all day long on eBay, but that one was a good one.
Yeah. You want to show us
So this
the
is
lathe?
this is just a regular Tormach Slant Pro lathe, my first CNC machine.
How do you like this machine?
Love it. I absolutely love it. A couple complaints I have. One is that it leaks coolant, and you could see my efforts to tape it all up. So, you know, it's not the best designed in terms of the, you know, the enclosure. It can leak through the back a little bit. And the rapids are slow. The rapids are slow, and the turret is very slow. When it's changing a tool, it does this delay, and then it clangs over. But other than that, In terms of accuracy, tenths.
Really?
Tenths. I run a job on here that has 3/10, plus or minus a tenth and a half in either direction, and it holds it all day long.
And for the people that don't know, when you say a tenth,
It's really a 10,000th of an inch. So
Right.
a 1,000th of an inch, divide that into 10 pieces.
crazy.
Yeah.
Can't even like picture that.
And it has the automatic collet advancer here. So this is through G code. You could open and close the collet, and then you hook a bar puller to here.
Oh, okay. So you could essentially bar feed it, kind of.
Exactly. It comes in, grabs the part, collet opens, it advances it, moves away, close the collet. You sit here and drink coffee, and it'll make parts for you all day.
Sweet.
Yep.
And have you bar fed it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That job with the tenths.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Neat.
I'll just sit here and it'll make 50 pieces per stick. My only CNC mill, Haas mini mill.
As before, looks like it's very well maintained.
Well, if you really want to get a close-up, there's a lot of chips in there still.
Oh, that's not bad. Nice. So it looks like you're cutting aluminum on it.
A lot of aluminum over here. This is just roughing these parts out last night. Trying to nail a 32 finish on there.
Has that been difficult? Are you able to do it?
Oh, easy enough.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, with
Just reduce your feed rate, your inch per tooth.
Yep.
Just a normal indexable mill, like
Yep.
face mill? Cool.
Let's take a look. We run the gamut. We got Niagara. We've got this is
OSG.
OSG, Harvey tool. I love the helical stuff.
Yep.
The helical stuff I just discovered this year. Really, really good. The beauty of helical tool is you call them up and you will get an engineer on the phone, and you know, like this job, I was running this last summer. So I bought this guy. This is 3/4 inch roughing, and we were cutting 17/4, hardened 17/4. And in fact, I'll show you the piece.
On the mini mill?
On the mini mill.
That's a lot of side pressure with a hardened 17/4 with a 3/4 inch end mill.
So this piece right here, this is a mess up.
It's pretty good for a mess up.
Believe it or not, the center drill was off by 10 thousandths. So then the pilot, then everything followed. So
Yeah.
this big hole is 10 thousandths off to one of the sides here. But the point I'm trying to say is I gave the engineer the material, the tool that I wanted, and he's like, these are your speeds and feeds. I put them in and bit my lip and like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
And it worked perfect.
Oof.
Perfectly.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Was it full depth, light radial?
Oh yeah, he's like the guy told me you could go right in and just helix down, interpolate it right down, and cut it. He goes, that tool will do it
From solid.
from solid.
Right.
He's like, I said, but I want to personally drill a hole.
Right.
He goes, a hole is always better.
Yeah, definitely.
So I didn't do it solid. I had a pilot hole in it. But anyway, that's the beauty of helical. So helical, you get really good tech support. Any questions, they'll answer. I still have this allotment of Haas tooling that came with the machine. when
What's
I
been
bought
your
it.
experience with the Haas tooling?
Really good.
Yeah?
No problems.
Seems like a great value. 3 fluid aluminum cutter there. Try to get his focus. Here we go.
Now I don't know who makes these for Haas. A lot of this stuff says made in Israel, so
Iskar?
might
Maybe.
be Iskar.
Kennametal makes a bunch of stuff in in Israel as well.
Yep.
So there's a decent amount of cutting tools made in Israel.
Now I bought all these stuff after watching Titan's videos.
Uh-huh.
He was running a special on all these
Was it
cores
Core
and
5?
Harvey. Yeah, and I took advantage. I bought a couple of them, and this one is beat up.
Beat up.
Yeah, when I say beat up, it's the ends are a little chewed up.
Okay. There we go. Yep.
On the CNCs, you learn really quick the value of a radius end. end mill.
Yeah,
instead
they
of the
hold up a
square.
lot better, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
See, with the Bridgeport, you have the feel.
Right.
You're feeling it. You could back off, but that thing you tell to go, and it goes, and the outcome is the outcome.
Yeah.
And often it's not a good outcome.
And you got some welders back here.
Yes,
to
I do.
Continue
We
the
have
shop tour here.
we've got a miller. We've got TIG welder and a MIG welder, Synchrowave and a Millermatic.
Do you end up doing quite a bit of welding, or just
Not for the business.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, I know how to weld. I could weld pretty decently. TIG is new for me, so I'm still definitely
That's
a
like
student.
the more fine stuff, like
Yeah.
okay.
Filler rod, the tungsten creates the arc. You could really weld anything with TIG.
Yeah.
Not anything, but most metals you could weld with.
I don't know much
TIG.
about welding. Both my grandfathers were welders, and they're welders. I just never learned. Wish I did.
You should.
Yeah.
Buy a welder and learn.
Well, I probably have 3-4 welders in the family that I can go grab.
I will say this: there's something therapeutic about it because your world shrinks down to this little puddle,
Right.
and everything is shut out, and it's
Yeah,
nice.
That's cool. I got big into woodworking and stuff, so I've done a lot of that, but
Yeah.
I didn't get into the welding yet. But I'd like to.
try it. So we're running power wise. We got 150 amps in the shop, and a ADX from American Rotary phase converter. So that will power that idler motor right down there, which creates the third phase.
Okay.
That guy right there sends it back in here to a breakout box, and then
And you need the 3-phase because we got industrial machinery
Yeah.
and residential power, correct?
yep, the 2 Hardinge lathes run on it, and the Precision Mathews gearhead lathe.
Is that a big expense to get a phase converter?
It all depends on what size you get.
Right.
So we're looking to get a second machine in the shop here, another spindle running. So the machines that we're looking at, the class of machines that we're looking at is going to require somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 70 amps. So this rotary phase converter right here, I think, is 30. So I need twice that.
Okay. So will you just get another one of these, or you'll have to get a new
Yeah,
one?
I'm going to upgrade. And I think, so I'll let you hear what it sounds like. It's relatively very quiet. But that's it.
That's not bad.
That's generating 3-phase power right now. So
It's not bad
it's like
if
a
you're-
10 horsepower motor. It's 10 horsepower, I think. But yeah, you could sit and have a conversation. But at the end of the day, you kind of get tired of listening to that.
And then here you just got a
This is a
saw.
Precision Mathews bandsaw. I guess a lot of companies kind of make the same one, but it's really great. It works fantastic. Actually, very, very precise cuts. If you've ever gone to Radio Shack back in the day, you might have bought parts in these cabinets. These come from Radio Shack. So when they went bankrupt, out of business, a friend of mine was at the Radio Shack and he said, hey, they're selling the cabinets for $30 a piece or something.
Jeez,
There's 4 of
that's a
them right here,
steal.
stacked and bolted together. But yeah, we have nuts and bolts. We've got washers, hardware, various stuff. Fittings. My God, how much fittings you
Wow.
collect over the years.
Yeah.
Bearings, tape.
Coming to you.
This is obviously my end mills, smaller end mills here. I mean, smaller end mills, bigger end mills. We got some
Lathe
knurling
stuff,
tools. Empty. These represent end mills that perished.
Rest in peace. Moment of silence.
Exactly. And obviously, I got some collets here. I got some Hardinge tooling. These are the die chasers that go onto that die chasing head for the Hardinge. So here's all your different thread sizes.
Cool.
So what that does is, you ratchet it and it closes down, and it goes and it will thread and cut the outside diameter threads. And once it clutches out, it pulls. They pop open, and then you just retract it back. Really good.
cool. Do you have any tools in the shop, whether it be tooling or just a piece of equipment that like you got it and then you're like, man, I should have bought this 10 years ago?
That's a good question. The comparator. That's a machine, piece of optics, but
Yeah.
the comparator, but no.
Do you have? Okay, yeah.
This for one. Any of the Noga stuff, the articulating, you just lock it, move it and lock it, the magnetic bases. Once you get one of these, you'll ask yourself that very question. God, there's a lot of tools. These guys right here, the vernier calipers, often overlooked. Everybody's vernier calipers until you need one. And then when you need one, you're like, man, there's 1,000 uses for them. Because, your calipers start running out of space really fast.
Right.
And this will measure down to the 1,000th of an inch. These are super handy. I always say to people, like, don't overlook them. Even things like these things, these little calipers right here. Mm-hmm. You need to snatch a measurement somewhere really tight and, you could get it. Or if you're roughing something, you could literally just keep feeding in as you're pulling your tool and, manually.
Right.
And right when you feel a drag, you're right to size. So, that's one of the kind of things that, you say, God, I wish I had them.
Can we take a look at your comparator?
Sure, absolutely.
Comparators are kind of just cool in general. Okay, so comparator, what does this thing do if you're explaining this to an 8th grader?
I'll get a screw and show you. The
Sweet.
best way to do it is to show you that. So let's say you're making threads and you're trying to check your thread profile.
Okay, so you got a light there, and it just casts a shadow.
So a comparator is really good for two things. Seeing what you can't see with the naked eye, or seeing better, I should say, small things like this. You might see this and go, oh, look, there's a little burr there. Obviously, that's probably just some dirt or dust. Mm-hmm. But it's for looking at things. But the best thing is you reset this, and I want to see the pitch of this screw. I just move it over to the next, and then you look over here, and you're at 50 thousandths and
so
6
you
tenths.
have some markers on here. You're gonna reference a spot.
It's great for measuring things. Like oh, get this too. You could also see the surface of things.
That's cool.
You could actually focus on the top of that C or the banner, because they're at different heights because of the embossing. See how you could, look at, you could really get, but
yeah, that's pretty detailed.
So if I was to come over here, and again, you have to do this, everything is so optically, but it's for, it's for precise measuring and stuff, where, if you were to measure the gap in between those threads without having a special tool to do that, how would you do it?
Right, because you can't just put the pinchers on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is fantastic. I use this thing all the time. Hands down, this is the tool that I wish I had one sooner.
How long have you had this?
I think 3 years now.
Nice.
And this was a gift actually from my customer.
Oh, really?
Yep, they were going to put this in storage because they were no longer using it. And one of my contacts over there called me up and was like, you have any use for a Nikon comparator?
Let me think, yes.
Did you ever see that thing that Zach Galifianakis, he looks at the camera and he's like,
yeah.
trying not to show his excitement, like, of course I could use one. Yeah, so.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. Sweet. Yeah, because that thing might cost you, I'm just spitballing, 10, 15 grand to buy one of those?
No, yeah, they're really expensive. I think on the used market, this is around 5,000. I've seen it, 5,000, different ranges. But yeah, hands down, this wins. Hands down, that wins. Oh, probably the second by far, the second thing that I wish I had was pin gauges. I've had these for a long time, but I remember when I got them, I was like, wow, there's a million and one uses for them. There's a lot of people see pin gauges and they think, oh, you stick it in a hole and measure it to make sure the holes. But you could put this into a slot. You could put this into a bigger hole with two known diameters to calculate things. You could, limitless.
How many, I guess I'm asking, you got 1,000th between every one of these? I don't know why the words are escaping me, but.
So the increments?
Yes,
so
increments.
This goes basically from 1,000, past a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch, and then from a 1/2 inch to 5/8. And then you can see some of these right here are like.
Wow, that's like a hair. Yeah, we can see that it's there. How big is that one?
6/1000 of an inch.
Yeah, 6.
Two sheets of printer paper.
6,000. So tiny.
So over here is our Flexarm. This is for all offline tapping. So you could save a lot of cycle time by not running tapping inside your mill. And as the pieces come off, as they're running, the pieces come off. You just come in here, bloop.
Okay, so this is a little powered head that has enough torque to drive a tap, so you're not spinning a tap handle over here. Are they out in Ohio?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
Probably not far from John Saunders, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're in a town called Wapakoneta.
Wapakoneta.
Where
it just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, totally, like a boulder going down the hill.
Yeah.
And this, just got this 2 weeks ago.
Is this a laser marker?
Yep. So now we're doing all our own lasering. So this is some test pieces, just lasering, learning how to do it, watching videos. This was the last job that we did for this year. Was we made these kind of like clamps. This is 316 tubing, and we had a laser etch. It's amazing.
Control your own process, right?
Oh my God! There's such a feeling of completion now. To the parts come off the assembly line, they get laser etched, and they put right in the get put right in the box, and off they go to the customer. And back there is just a Southbend drill press. These were like the first two machines. One of the first two machines that I restored. That looked awful. That was green, and it had paint like white paint spattered all over it. I mean, it's pretty old. So 10 years ago I restored it, but I mean, I stripped all the paint off of it, repainted it, buffed all the parts. It's starting to, some of the surface rust is starting to sneak back on some of those days.
Yeah.
A lot of it came from when it was in storage last year.
So is that something you do kind of as a hobby, restoring machinery?
Yeah. In fact, if you look, there's some parts that are cooking in evaporust right now.
Ah.
In fact, let's see what we got.
Science project.
Look at that.
So that was all rusty when you put it in there?
Oh yeah. In fact, it looked like this. So that's before and after, basically.
Wow, that's an improvement.
Oh yeah. If you're doing what you love, even if you're not becoming rich, the feeling of accomplishment and pride is what fuels you.
Yeah.
What is God in terms of a machine shop? It's making something for somebody and getting it to them fast, on time and to spec. That's what this is all about. But at the end of the day, when you're running a business and you're running a shop, it's about making products for somebody who needs them and getting them out on time.
Yeah, and to be competitive, you got to do it quick.
Yeah, because somebody else will beat you to it.
Yeah.